So we're ready to do attempt 2. We're going to whip through this, baby, for the national questions for the exam. There's 46 of them. We already tried this once. Let's do this. Princess, I can do it on my own. We don't need your help. All right. Princess, what would have to happen for a VA loan to be granted for the purchase of a 1 to 4 family? 1 family to 4 family. The veteran agrees to live there. That's the answer. Okay? The veteran agrees to live there. That means for the VA loan, you need to live there. Next, which of the following would usually occur in a sale and leaseback transaction? The property is sold on the condition that the new owner lease it back to the seller at the time title passes. The blank is a standardized yardstick for expressing the true annual cost of borrowing. The APR. The APR is a standardized yardstick for expressing the true annual cost of borrowing. Which of the following acts would RESPA prohibit? Paying of kickbacks. Princess! You can't pay kickbacks because of RESPA. Okay? No kickbacks. Blank is considered a conventional loan. A commercial bank's ARM loan is considered a conventional loan. True of most states, the mortgagor has the right to regain the property by paying the debt after a foreclosure sale. This right is called the statutory right of redemption. We call it the statutory right of redemption because it's written. We only have 46 of these questions. We're on number 6, and we're about to get 100%. We got this. Okay. What is true of the maximum permissible loan-to-value ratio? They are based on sale price or appraised value, which is lower. That's the answer. RESPA requires the lender to provide a detailed good faith estimate statement at the time of loan application or within 3 days to whom? The buyer. The buyer gets to look at the numbers. To whom should a broker refer a buyer if the buyer wants to take out an FHA loan? Any approved lending institution, such as a bank or savings and loan association. It is in a blank market in which a lender may sell a loan that a mortgage banker has previously originated. Secondary. Secondary is the answer to that. What is the process called when a mortgage company assembles a number of loans into one package with the intention of selling it to permanent investors? It's called warehousing. Which of the following fluctuates over the term of the loan under an FHA graduated payment mortgage? The monthly payment. If you're on an FHA graduated payment, otherwise known as an ARM, your payment will change depending on interest rates. The RESPA closing statement is allowed to be examined on or before closing in order to check for mathematical errors. That's what they're checking for. Which of the following is false concerning conventional loans? The policy requirements of the lenders are not uniform. They are made to the buyer without government insurance or guarantee. They require a higher down payment. The requirements to qualify are uniformly fixed by state law. That's false. Who would be the most likely person to pay for title insurance if the lender under a deed of trust requires it? Oh man. So it's not the beneficiary. The mortgagee, the trustor, or the trustee. I'm going to say the mortgagee. Dang it. Unsure about that one. Would this violate the Truth in Lending Act if an owner advertised the following message? Gorgeous acreage, only $7,000 down. Owner will personally finance the down payment. No, brokers can advertise the down payment. No, owners are not covered by Regulation Z. Yes, since the down payment was stated. Yes, acreage is not exempt from Regulation Z. I'm going to say no, owners are not covered by Regulation Z. In lending practices, a discrimination is prohibited under who? That is going to be the ECOA. What is the primary purpose of the Truth in Lending Act? To disclose the true costs of obtaining credit. Tyla, it has to do with credit. Just remember that. Truth in Lending Act has to do with credit. To disclose the true costs of obtaining credit. We're going to stop there because just the first answer was it, since it's about credit. Out of the following options, which would most likely result in the largest reduction of principal balance? 13% over 15 years, 10% over 30 years, 14% over 20 years, 11% over 20 years. 13% over 15 years. Shortening your mortgage makes a huge difference. At what point would a single parent have to admit that part of his or her income is from child support if he or she were to apply for a real estate loan? This type of income has to be disclosed if the parent was relying on that income for repayment of the loan. If you need that money to qualify, you have to disclose it. Answer the following questions. The minimum passing score is 70%. A securities license is required for which of the following transactions? Selling shares in Fannie Mae. That has nothing to do with real estate. If the Waltons are buying land for $88,000 and the lender is allowing them a 90% loan at 10% interest plus a 2% loan origination fee, how much would the loan origination fee be? $1,584. We learned that on the last one because what we're going to do is figure out what 90% of $88,000 is, and then we're going to see what 2% of that amount is, and that's the loan origination fee. Which of the following would be in violation of the Truth in Lending if advertised a loan? FHA financing available, easy financing terms, assumable loan, no down payment required. It's the no down payment required. How is an owner relieved of the liability if the buyer assumes the mortgage? That is called novation. Which of the following would be in violation of the Truth in Lending if advertised a loan? We're going to go with no down payment required. In the secondary market, the largest purchaser is Fannie Mae, if I remember correctly. It's not Freddie Mac. It's not Ginnie Mae. I believe it's Fannie Mae. What type of interest is used in a repayment of a mortgage loan? Compound, simple, floating, or discount? We're going to go with simple. All of the following are an originator of primary loans, with the exception of FHA does not originate loans, which means that we could be wrong on that one about the secondary market, that the largest purchaser is Fannie Mae. It may be FHA. Concerning restrictive covenants, although FHA is the insurance that covers loans, I believe. Concerning restrictive covenants, which of the following statements are true? They are placed by private parties in a deed. Would it be appropriate for a buyer to use a promissory note for consideration on the purchase of the property? Sure, as long as the seller agrees. Next. Which of the following is the best reason to explain why a buyer would use the market data approach to purchase a home? Buyers buy after they compare the house with others. They want to know, is that a decent price compared to the other guys? A mortgagee or beneficiary would have an appraisal on a property in order to assure that the property value is sufficient to cover the loan. A mortgagee or beneficiary would have an appraisal on the property in order to assure that the property value is sufficient to cover the loan. So that's the mortgagee or the beneficiary. So what I believe that means is that is the person that the property is coming back to. So we're going to go back for a second, and we're going to go to, I think it's page 1, where we were unsure.
Who would be the most likely person to pay for title insurance if the lender under a deed of trust requires it? The mortgagee sounds like the same as the beneficiary. So I'm going to say the trustor. I think that's the person buying the property. Okay. Can an owner advertise the down payment if he or she is selling his or her own home? Yes, because it's their own home. The Turner family owns a 5-year-old home in a semi-rural area. If there are new plans for construction of a regional airport and the main runway is directly placed in line with their home, but happens to end a mile before it, will this weaken the value of the Turner home if the construction plans come to fruition? Yes, because of economic obsolescence. What is it called when, during an appraisal process, a person inspects shopping centers, the distance from school, and the overall social fiber of the community? That's called a neighborhood analysis. Which of the following should a real estate agent tell his or her customer, the buyer? A pending or recent zoning change. They're going to want to know if there's a pending or recent zoning change. A room measuring 5 inches by 7.5 inches on a scale drawing. We read this in the last one. So I don't know if anybody remembers. They should be able to tell me what this payment turned out to be. Give me a second. Let me find this math problem. 88,000, 4,000 square feet. Is that this one? No. It's the math one. There's the one for 1 acre. There we are. The answer for this was 750. Which of the following is false if Steve Thompson's license becomes inactive for a period of less than 3 years? To reactivate his license, Steve must take a 30-hour course as well as pay the fee. That is false. An appraiser named Mr. Thigpen is appraising a single-family residence for which he has located 5 closely comparable properties which all have been sold within the past 5 months. It's a 4-year-old custom-built house that rents for $750 per month. Which of the following appraisal methods would weigh most heavily? So these are 4 types of appraisal methods. Gross rent multiplier, no. Income approach, no. Market data approach, yes. Cost approach, no. So cost approach is if we had to replace it. And obviously gross rent and income are going to have to do with if it's a rental. And we are on the last page, fingers crossed. Which of the following would be true if Antonio commits a violation of license law at a time where his license is active, but it isn't found out until after his license becomes inactive? He's subject to the same interdisciplinary actions as an active agent. A prime example of functional obsolescence would be a steep, narrow stairway in a 2 3/4 story home. The house itself is functionally obsolete. When a person takes the real estate salesperson's test, what is the required minimum score for passing the test? 70. 70 on both the state and national portions. What is 1/8 of a mile squared in acres? 10. Real estate licenses in the state of Washington must be renewed every 2 years. Which of the following is true regarding real estate instructors? They must renew their license every 2 years. All right, let's see if we passed it this time. 100%. That was 100% correct. So we took it the first time and we got 65%. We looked up all those different things. Truth in lending has to do with credit. And RESPA, no kickbacks on RESPA. Good faith estimate goes to the buyer. Assembling a number of loans and selling them is warehousing. Monthly payments fluctuate under an FHA graduated loan, otherwise known as an ARM. The RESPA closing statement comes 3 days before closing, and it's to check for mathematical errors. Let me see. Title Z doesn't apply to for sale by owners. Discrimination is prohibited under ECOA. I believe that stands for Equal Credit Opportunity Act. And don't forget the Truth in Lending Act, TILA, has to do with credit with consumers. RESPA has to do with kickbacks. What is the primary purpose of Truth in Lending, TILA? To disclose the true cost of obtaining credit, how much it's going to cost you. And that's it. We totally just passed that with 100%. Took us 2 tries. Study the first one and then study the second one because we did that. Congratulations. We're going to pass this tomorrow.